Well guys, this is it. Believe it or not, it's actually been an entire year since I reviewed Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And looking back, I've realized two things. First, I think I've become much better as a reviewer over that year. And secondly, I should probably pick up those books I used in the video. Whatever guys, cue the intro. So as you guys can probably tell, this is my 1 year of reviewing special. Later down the road on these occasions, I'll actually poll you guys on what you want me to review, but I don't think I'm that popular yet, and plus, I had something pretty special in mind. So, here we go. 2003's underrated classic by Sierra Entertainment, The Hobbit. This is one of the two games based on that classic novel of the same name by J.R. Tolkien. And yes, I have read it, and very much enjoyed it, but I haven't seen the 1977 animated movie. I am looking forward to the Peter Jackson one coming later this year, but that's a ways off. So as you'd expect, the story is pretty similar to the book, but being a video game and requiring more action and length, there are some deviations and additions. For instance, in Riddles in the Dark, Gollum is just the cutscene at the end of the level, while your main objective is freeing a dwarf from enslavement. While regardless, it's still definitely true to the book, it just realizes it's a video game and needs to be of acceptable length. I enjoyed the retelling of The Hobbit, and the voice acting is great. It can get a little cheesy, but usually it's realistic, entertaining, and sometimes even comical. Heck, Bilbo's, that's the main character, voice actor Michael Beatty, would go on to roles in Dragon Age Origins, Knights of the Old Republic, and even Mass Effect 2. But you'll always be Bilbo Baggins to me, Mike. The writing's also good, although there was one scene that put me off a bit.
You know, I've always understood that dragons were soft underneath.
Ha! What do you think of this?
Oh my god, I thought this was a kid game! On the subject of graphics, that's admittedly the thing that turns most people off. It's pretty kid-friendly, not dark at all, and certainly in contrast to the Lord of the Rings games released by EA. But come on, it's still a pretty charming art style, and the graphics are pretty impressive for its time. The engine can render huge environments, weather effects, and the character models range from getting the job done to freaking awesome. Namely, Bilbo, his eyes, eyebrows, eyelids, mouth, nose, and hair all move and make a lot of expressions. This really helps when the game tries to be funny. Here's my favorite scene. I love his face throughout all of that. I mean, I've never stolen from a dragon per se, but if I did, my face would probably look like that. While a darker version of The Hobbit would have been interesting to see, and don't get me started on how those three trolls walk.
Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me? Don't you wish your girlfriend was a freak like me? Don't you?
But otherwise, I really like the way this game looks. The gameplay of The Hobbit's 9-hour campaign generates a lot of comparisons to Zelda, and admittedly I can see why. Platforming plus puzzles, plus combat, plus exploration in a fantasy setting. Clearly these games are similar, but The Hobbit does set itself apart in many areas. Its biggest focus is on platforming, which is good because that's its biggest strength. Bilbo's abilities in these areas include an intuitive jump, which doesn't sound like much, but it's actually really well controlled. Grabbing onto ledges and ropes, by the way, I appreciate Bilbo's reaching out to another rope if he's in range, indicating whether or not you can make that jump, which is so nice. And last but not least, a long jump. Just equip your handy walking stick, Hold down L1, hit X, and watch yourself go! Add in your jump attack for a little extra kick, and you've got a very nice move. I love seeing how much I can get away with using this move. Like this one instance where I have to fall into a pit? I don't think so. I love the platforming in this game. I love the level design, I love the challenge, it's just a crap ton of fun. Puzzles aren't too prominent, but there are a handful scattered here and there. Most of them are pretty throwaway, but there are some fun ones like this water pipe one, a bridge arranging, and even a logic puzzle. And then there's this puzzle, which I can't stand. I played through this game 5 times and I still don't get it. I think it has something to do with the shading on both the buttons and the actual barrels, but I don't know. I always just BS my way through it. If anybody can explain it to me, please do so. Combat is a perfect example of simplicity working really well. The game gives you 3 weapons, a sword, a walking stick, and some throwing rocks. Now, what I really like about this is that the walking stick remains useful even after you unlock that sword. Why? Well, it gets upgraded faster. And plus it has a longer range, and it can do that long jump, but still, you'll end up using it in combat even after you get the sword. But you'll still use the sword too, because its jump attack can get rid of shields, it's more powerful, and you get the basic point. And then you've got the throwing rocks, which I've actually grown to really appreciate more with each playthrough. They're obviously an ammo-based, long-distance weapon, and they are actually pretty fun to use and quite useful. You use these 3 weapons to fight off wolves, spiders, goblins, or whatever else the game likes to toss your way. Like I said, the combat is simplistic, using 1 button to attack, 1 button to lock on, which is another feature I'm really starting to appreciate, and 1 button to switch weapons. And finally, there is a pretty awesome jump attack for some good old-fashioned Jack from above. Ooh, that didn't do any. Ah, God, these horrible fire effects are burning me alive! Well, after that, these weapons and moves can be upgraded with scrolls that you'll start finding within levels starting in level 3. They increase your jump attack power, allow you to attack twice or 3 times in a row, and provide you with the charge up spin move, which, to be honest, I never really used. Looks cool though. These scrolls are sometimes in plain sight, but a lot of them are found through exploration, and I like that. Speaking of exploration, this game kind of alternates between linear and non-linear game design, but whether you are roaming the Shire or climbing the Misty Mountains, there's always something interesting to find. In fact, I'll go as far to say that I'm still finding new stuff with each new playthrough of this game, and that's very impressive. Another neat addition to this game is the stealth. These sections can be divided into 2 categories: stealth sections before you get the ring, and stealth sections after that. Before you get the ring, the 2 stealth sections you get are awesome. Sneaking by those trolls is still an intense and challenging scene, and there's another fun one after that as well. And then we get the ring. If you don't know, due to being marooned on an island since 2001, the ring turns the wearer invisible. Obviously, to ensure that the player doesn't use the ring the entire game, the developers made the ring's use limited by sticking a meter at the top right corner of the screen, denoting for how long you can use the ring before it has to recharge. But I have to admit, I would have liked it if they were a bit more stringent with this meter. You see, there is this one level consisting almost entirely of stealth, and it was really cool when I was 9. But now that I'm older, I've realized that there just isn't enough challenge to most of the level. There are a couple intense parts, but usually you can just run past everybody without even tiptoeing. So yeah, that part was a bit disappointing, but it's made up for in the level when you are sneaking around a freaking dragon. That was a great level. So overall, I really like the stealth, but I would have liked tweaking with the ring's features a bit to make it a bit more challenging. Still, don't think I didn't enjoy that other level I mentioned, because I certainly did. I just feel it had the potential to be my favorite level, and it just wasn't. So I guess the question should be posed, why do I love this game so much? Well, for a lot of reasons. Not only do all of the elements come together really nicely, but the game's lighthearted mood really charmed me. But what makes it so fantastic is the structure of each level. Some are extremely linear with tough platforming and tons of hidden treasures, while others are sprawling sandboxes with lots to do, people to converse with, and even some side quests. I think my favorite level is the Gathering of the Clouds. You've retaken the treasure chamber. Your only objective is to open the treasury door and retrieve the Arkenstone. What follows is a perfect example of non-linear gameplay at its finest. Where do you start? Well, you gotta open all the doors. Once you do that, you need to power the place up so you're off to the water room. But, ooh, hang on, you can't power up everything because that ladder is broken. So I guess I need to fix the lift system. I beat this level in about a half an hour when capturing footage because I already knew where to go and all that great stuff. But first timers will need to explore the entire place, talk to all of the dwarves. But this isn't done in a cheap and overly challenging manner. It's just awesome. Opening chests is also a pretty neat minigame. I'm not really going to go into that much detail, but it's really fun. I also like the way you level up your health in this game. You start out with 3 bubbles of health. We are then introduced to the concept of courage points. Basically, they're jewels that can be found by killing enemies, completing objectives, or just walking into them scattered across the world. Get enough of these courage points, and you get another health bubble. I appreciate this system because it gives you an incentive to go off the beaten path or answer to some of the optional platforming challenges this game tosses at you. Just save often. Finally, the music. It's one of the best video game soundtracks I've ever heard. It ranges from calm acoustic guitar complementing your little jaunt across the Shire to a full-blown orchestra accompanying your epic battle against 5 goblins. If you do nothing else after watching this video, look up this game's soundtrack on YouTube. It's so good that it won this game an award, meaning this game will be remembered for something, thank God. With that said, I'll admit that the music does lead in probably my biggest problem with this game. And that is how sometimes the music doesn't know when to cut in or only is being played for 5 seconds then fades away. It's such an amazing soundtrack, and I wish that the sound designers had ironed out the music choosing system so we can enjoy it more, yet it still remains epic. My only other legitimate issue with this game is the currency. Silver pennies.
What's this? My pocket has sprouted a hole. Oh, my silver pennies must be scattered all over Hobbiton.
Oh, so that's why they can be found all over Middle-earth. That makes perfect sense.
Except for they're all over Middle-earth.
I mean, did Hurricane Erwin blow them into those locked chests in the deep caves buried underneath the Misty Mountains? Also, Bilbo, you're bounding across hills of gold. Pitch your cute little pennies and stuff your pockets full of the shit you're walking on. But seriously, the monetary system in this game is a little useless. Once you've maxed out how many rocks and potions you can carry, there's very little you can do with the money you get. I mean, yeah, you can buy health potions up the wazoo, but still, the money almost exists more as a collectible. A score, if you will, to see if you can get all the money in the level. Admittedly, that's a bit of a shame. Although I'll admit, coming across a treasure chest that has 1,000 pennies is pretty darn awesome, even if it's not even useful. Finally, why do the health power-ups look like freaking hallucinogenic shrooms? So that's The Hobbit. I'll admit that as I get older and play through this game more times, its flaws become more noticeable, but I don't love this game any less than when I first played it. Be it combat, platforming, or stealth, it's so entertaining, and the presentation Wild Kitty is really appealing to me. If you don't really like what you're seeing in the way of cartoony visuals, maybe this isn't your game, but that is a shame, because I freaking love this game. If you've never heard of it, and face it, 90% of you guys haven't, give it a shot. It was released on all of the last gen consoles. Be it Amazon or GameStop, you can get it used for really cheap, and this game deserves a larger following. I'm hoping with the new movies coming out, more people will watch this review and give this classic a chance. Anyway, I'm not actually going to give this game a score. Why? Well, I can't attach a number to it. It has its flaws, but that doesn't mean it's not one of my favorite games ever. But maybe I'm not looking at this game objectively. I know I have a ton of nostalgia toward this game, and I just can't rake it. I cannot do it. Don't worry though, this is the only time I'll ever cop out like this. Unless we're dealing with downloadable content. But regardless guys, awesome music, awesome gameplay, and just an awesome recreation of that classic by J.R. Tolkien. The Hobbit is one of my favorites. And that should wrap everything up, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. You have no idea how long I wanted to review that game. Apologize a bit for the length, but I just really want to show how much I loved it. Anyway, might as well just say, it's been a year. I've had a lot of fun. To those who have been with me since before I was a reviewer, thank you, but even if you came because of the Epic Mickey or Mario Party 9 reviews, you guys don't know how much it means to me to have you guys watching my videos and enjoying them. So thank you. Here's to another great year of gaming.